TGCRequiem here. We are recording 5-color humans. Seems like a good keep. Probably plan to go turn 1 noble. I can go Aether Vial, Thalia, turn 2. Maybe Dark Confidant, depending on what our opponent does. I'm just kind of assuming that this is either Storm or Blue-Black Living End at this point. Now, since they didn't do anything, I'm thinking this is probably Blue-Red Titan Shift. I probably made a mistake there. Yeah, so it looks like we have Storm. So we're actually going to run this vial out real quick. What did they remand? Oh, sorry. So they tried to remand the Thalia. My bad. So they tried to remand Thalia. It couldn't be countered. So it basically just was for them to draw another card. So we actually are just going to go ahead and attack with Noble. So if I try to play the Aether Vial first, we could have cast that. We cannot cast it now with Thalia down. But I think if it looks like it's Storm, which Remand tells us it's either Storm or Blue-Red Titan Shift, I think we're kind of okay with that either way. Yeah, I mean, the way this is playing out, I just can't imagine that we're playing against Storm. Storm tends to be more proactive. This seems more like Titan Shift to me. Yeah, or not Titan Shift, but Blue-Red Breach. We'll just kind of wait and see what our opponent does before we speculate. So I got rid of the Dark Confidant. Draws us into another Aether Vial. We're going to go ahead and cast a Noble Hierarch here. Be countered. Gives us a nice big Thalia. First strike. Very well could just still be in line to completely lose to a through the breach off like a Simian Spirit Guide this turn with Emrakul. Ooh, Blood Moon is strong in this against our deck. Thankfully, we actually have 2 Aether Vials and a couple Nobles on board already. So we're actually going to cast... We're definitely casting Aether Vial. Do we want to cast for attack 4? Almost would rather Reflector Mage the next turn. And I think land-wise, we want to play the Horizon Canopy. There's no downside to playing it here. The Unclaimed Territory, we can't even name a creature type, so if something were to happen to cause that Blood Moon to go away, then better to have the Unclaimed Territory still in hand so we can get that. I mean, we can Reflector Mage with the Hierarchs. I just don't think it really gives us much value, so they can't cast it the next turn. The creature can't your next turn. So they would be able to cast it on our following turn. At that point, we're not pressing lethal on them. I'd almost rather save this Reflector Mage, to hopefully get our Vial up to 3, and then we could use it to return a Emrakul to their hand after they threw the Breach it. Comes with, okay, Madcap Experiment. This is going to be what, like a Platinum Empyrean. Main deck, too. What is this? Blue-red Breach. So we're actually really kind of okay with this. We're going to be able to Reflector Mage a Platinum Empyrean and get in for 4 more this turn. They're unlikely to have a second Madcap Experiment. And even if they do, they're unlikely to have a second Platinum Empyrean in the deck or in the library. So we do have to do this here. We certainly would prefer to hold this for Emrakul, but we can't beat the opponent through an Empyrean. Just gotta kind of hope, for lack of a better word. Alright, so the opponent needed 1 more mana. The fact that they cast Serum Visions there is really good for us. They're down to 3 mana here, which means they can only cast 2 mana spells at this point. If they were to kill the Thalia, we can just Violent another. As it is, though, we're still not doing lethal next turn. Unless we were to get a Mantis Rider. So we do want both of these vials to uptick. Meddling Mage is pretty good here. I think we can through the breach. What did our opponent do with that Serum Visions? They went bottom, bottom. So if we attack with only Thalia, suppose they can chump the Reflector Mage, but we're getting two. So as it is, if we attack with just the Thalia, their Flick chumps it, and then yeah, so that's a better trade for them, presumably. We're in this tough spot where if we Meddling Mage, we could try and name like Cryptic Command. But if we name Cryptic Command, I mean that buys our opponent a turn, but through the breach with Emrakul right now just straight wins. I think we're just gonna we actually want to just cast this Thalia. Oh, not the Thalia. Meddling Mage. That way we can still file in Thalia if we need to. Again, we're naming Through the Breach because right now Through the Breach Emrakul would just kill us. And with the Thalia on board, the opponent can't both kill the Meddling Mage and cast Through the Breach. So even if they were to draw land and Lightning Bolt, they're not going to have enough mana to Through the Breach. Looks like we're going to get Cryptic Commanded this next turn. I don't know, Cryptic? Perhaps a Snapcaster. So here's the Lightning Bolt. And Lightning Bolt. Or Snapcaster, Lightning Bolt. Shoot. So with that on the stack, we need to get this Stallion. I guess it doesn't really matter. We still want to put it in now. They may kill the Thalia, but they need to either kill the Meddling Mage for the Through the Breach, after the Thalia, and we'll just cast this other. Oh no, I guess they can just, yeah. It's a bummer. Still have it out here. We are going to run out the Noble, and that way we didn't need to. Or either of our Nobles were lethal before either way. So probably really what we should have done, we gave them max value. We should have waited to vial in the Thalia after their Lightning Bolt went away. That's definitely a mistake on my part. Not enough experience playing with this. Nice 3/4 Noble Hierarch attacking in here. Can't imagine they're gonna take the champion away. If they take the champion away, let's see. Oh, they targeted themselves, so they're trying to prove their own. They put the Platinum Imperium back on the bottom. Now, if they have another Madcap, they can try and get away with that. Which Reflector Mage can, another Reflector Mage would get us out of that pickle. Yeah, definitely on the turn before should have waited with the Thalia when I attacked. We should have let them, oh, looks like we got there anyway. But it looks like we should have forced them to either use the Bolt or the Snapcaster on the Meddling Mage, and then after it went to their turn during upkeep, then we could have vialed in the Thalia. So a bit of a mistake there. It's what we call a newbie mistake. I don't play a lot of Vial decks, and I don't play a lot of Thalia decks either. Be on the draw here post board. So we're Sin Collector here. Necromancer's okay. Grafdigger's Cage is okay. Again, I'm not saying we need to bring all of this in, but these are the cards that we're probably looking at potentially bringing in. Dismember is a possibility because if our opponent were to get a Platinum Imperium down and we attacked into it, we could dismember the creature to, let the creature do the remainder of the damage. So I would consider one of these. I don't really think our opponent's going to do enough damage. They're probably running Anger of the Gods, which makes Zathrid weaker anyway, so I think we can cut that. I think we definitely want all the Reflector Mages. We want all the Mantis Riders, Thalias, Asmal. We definitely want Kite Sail. I think we want Meddling. So we really want to bring, we want to leave everything in. So what do we want to bring, really bring in? I think we can afford to cut the Grafdigger's Cages. They're not important enough. We don't need the Dark Confidant. We're going to pull the Dark Confidants. We're not really continuously assaulting their hand. Be problematic. I run it like that. Running the Sin Collector and Dismember, we pulled the Dark Confidant and a Thalia. Not really a good hand. Can't do anything till turn 2. We're on the draw. Any lands? That's a little bit better. I mean, it's still bad, but at least we can go Parish, Champion of the Parish, Champion of the Parish. We're gonna get bolted here. They're just bringing in a sideways fet or shock. I don't know that we can actually problem here is so my thought here is the opponent did not bolt us, and so it is worth the risk of a bolt blowing this phantasmal image out. Again, the key thing here was if the opponent had a bolt the turn before, they would have used it on a. So felt safe running out the phantasmal image in that scenario. That's probably all going to be for naught as they anger of the gods us here, but 3, 4, 5. We can actually swing in for 8 with the Mantis Rider this next turn. Interestingly, their counter magic is really bad here. Ooh. We actually are in a little bit of pinch. By naming Illusion, we cannot actually cast the Mantis Rider here. That is a mistake. And if we can't cast the Mantis Rider, almost might as well play the Horizon Canopy to draw a card this turn. I guess not, we still can't cast Mantis Rider the next turn then, either way. That would have been a lot of damage. We would have been swinging in for 8 this turn. Well, that's actually a mistake. I wanted to make sure that the Phantasmal image came in uncounterable. And by doing so, I go Mantis Rider. Really no reason not to cast the Mantis Rider first. They're just going to blow up this Engineer Explosives either way. Really no reason for them to not blow it up here, at least before damage, obviously. I mean, they certainly could try and wait till end step if they think I'm going to sneak one more creature in, but being that that cavern only taps for an illusion, if they're paying close enough attention, they should be able to see that. So the hope here will be that we get a chance to cast this Thalia's Lieutenant before they get to an anger. Anger of the Gods again, still very strong here. And control a target creature with converted mana. So when this card was first spoiled, I thought this card was going to be great, but the fact that it was a sorcery kind of made me change my mind. Very interesting. Granted, I thought it was going to be great because I play a lot of Death Shadow and Tarmogoyf decks, and I was like, well, that's pretty good. So key thing here, gain control of target creature with converted mana cost X. Not until the end of turn, not until like an enchantment. Just do. I could Reflector Mage that back to our hands. That creature's owner. He's the creature's controller, or our opponent's the creature's controller. Oh my gosh. Well, on the plus side, we can cast Reflector Mage and Valley's Lieutenant. So we're gonna go blue, colorless, white. And then the plus side of this is that Valley's Lieutenant then makes the Reflector Mage outsize. Anger of the Gods. We potentially have our opponent a 2-turn clock with the Mantis Rider next turn. Now they're going to spend 2 burn spells to remove the Reflector Mage, which is very much good for us. I just really can't afford to let that Mantis, for us to basically be in that position. So we're gonna, the question here is, do we actually have to cast off the Horizon Canopy? The question becomes, what do we name with Meddling Mage? Through the Breach or Madcap Experiment? Madcap Experiment shuts us down. Through the Breach does not kill us. The blue, a red. Want to make sure we're saving that can't be countered lands for Meddling Mage as well. I'm actually, again, more worried about Madcap Experiment here. And our opponent, 2-turn clock from here. Bottoms here on there. Put 1 card on the top, 1 card on the bottom. Loot for that card right now if they want. So they're going to click us. They're not going to see anything. Not see anything worth removing, and unfortunately I think we kind of are in a position where we just have to trade this Mantis Rider. Meddling Mage is more important right now. Made a mistake there. I should have cycled the Horizon Canopy. Another Vendilion click. Back-to-back clickies. We're going to get rid of that Meddling Mage, I have to presume. Very strong, we could name all sorts of things here. Snapcaster Mage, Through the Breach. If they don't name anything, I think we play the Noble Hierarch, attack with the Meddling Mage, see if they chump. Yeah, so they didn't actually take anything. And then we can see if our opponent does trade for this, we just play a second Meddling Mage, naming Madcap Experiment. We could also name Anger of the Gods here. Anger of the Gods is pretty... They're gonna see what their next draw step's gonna be before they decide to block or not. Discard a Delta. And then we'll just follow up. Question here again, we could just name Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage can almost do more damage and is higher likelihood. But again, actually Madcap doesn't really punish us, or yeah, it still does. I think Pyromancer's fine. Gonna gum up the ground. It is a very good card against. Oh, Electrolyze is huge here. File is terrible. We're definitely attacking in here, though. We're definitely willing to trade for a young Pyromancer. They're unlikely to take that trade. Fortunately, we really need to win this game. I'm just running out of time. Longer, grindy. We're really looking for like a Mantis Rider at this point. You know, I would actually bring Is It Static Caster in now post board, knowing this young Pyromancer is here. And unfortunately, the internet a little bit slow right now with the kids streaming. Not super responsive. Snapcaster, Electrolyze. That probably is about the game. If we don't draw a Mantis Rider this next turn, I think we probably just concede. They've got 4, 5, 6, 7 damage on board. I think we're dead even if we draw a Mantis Rider, right? Yeah, I think at this point we're dead even if we draw a Mantis Rider. So we're just going to go ahead and concede. So we lose turn 11 there. Ugh. Ate up a lot of time. So let's see, what can we do with the sideboard to be a little bit better? Don't want to bring more than like one Izzet Static Caster, and again, I don't know that we really need to. On the play, I'm going to pull the Dismember. I'm going to bring the Thalia back in. A lot more punishing to them. And I think I'm actually going to pull the Sin Collector for Grafdigger's Cage. I'm actually going to bring both Grafdigger's Cages in. I do have answers to them. Not really sure what to cut here though. Probably Thalia's Lieutenant. The biggest thing here is there's going to be a lot of spot removal, which just makes Thalia's effect less impressive. Although Phantasmal Image might have been a fine cut as well, because of the exact same reason, right? Like Phantasmal Image could go not have a very good turn based on not many targets based on the removal. Keep this. Not great, but we also got to play fast. We have a vial. Draw any land, we're off to the races. Dungeoneer Explosive is a great answer for that vial. Huh. Well, I think in this case we just need to hope that they crack it, and then we'll end step a Noble Hierarch, force their hand so that we can play a vial on our next turn. Unfortunately, we can't cast Vial or activate the Vial right now because that causes our Noble Hierarch to die as well. Our opponent is way ahead here. Almost like they had a free turn before we started. Like they had 2 turns at the start of the game. Oh god. Oh, it's brutal. At least we aren't going to go to time because we're just going to lose anyway. Yeah, it's like I'm hitting the button to go to the next turn and I'm getting a good like 3-second delay before it responds. And that may be a bit exaggerated, but there's definitely a noticeable delay. Madcap. Oh. We almost basically have to win off of Mantis Rider here. Which means we have to be able to cast Noble Hierarch right basically this turn. Well, this is definitely going to be a loss here. There's just almost no way we get through this, even if we don't run out of time. It's a bummer. Yeah, go ahead. This is funny. Cast a Snapcaster, make that bigger. Tell my opponent thank you for at least not letting go to time. Yeah, look at that. That's 4 damage right there. Plus that elemental's going to get to attack like 3 times, so that lightning bolt just resulted in about 6 damage. Well, unfortunately, this is what happens. Any lightning bolt or Snapcaster, any spells really. Snapcaster and a spell is lethal. Actually, just a Snapcaster makes it lethal. I guess 2 spells, or unless one of the spells is direct damage. Oh, that's lethal. Yep. All right. Well, that is a loss. Blue Red Breach is a cool deck. It's something I've almost got put together myself, so I may actually put that together and do a video on that as well. But in the interim, if you enjoy, please come back and watch some more. You can subscribe if you want to know when I post more videos. I'm sorry that this one ended up kind of being anticlimactic in the end, but hopefully you got to enjoy watching what the deck can do. Have a good one.